Hello and welcome. Today we're journeying to the long, narrow country on the southwestern edge of South America, Chile. Its story is a remarkable saga of endurance, transformation, and resilience, a land of stark contrasts, from the arid Atacama Desert in the north to the icy fjords and glaciers in the south. This unique geography hasn't just shaped its people, it has shaped its very destiny. Let's dive into the complete history of Chile. Thousands of years before any European ship reached its shores, the land we now call Chile was home to a tapestry of diverse indigenous cultures. In the north, the Atacameño people developed sophisticated irrigation systems, creating life in one of the world's driest deserts. In the central valleys, the Mapuche, also known as Araucanians, rose as one of the most influential and resilient indigenous groups in South America. They were skilled farmers and fierce warriors who would resist outside domination for centuries. Meanwhile, the harsh southern lands were home to nomadic tribes like the Tehuelche, Yamana, and Kaweskar, who adapted to the unforgiving climate with incredible ingenuity. By the 15th century, the mighty Inca Empire extended its reach from Peru, bringing northern Chile under its control. Yet, the Incas never managed to conquer the Mapuche heartland in central Chile. This became a recurring theme in Chile's history, a land and a people fiercely unwilling to be subdued. European arrival changed everything. In 1540, the Spanish conquistador Pedro de Valdivia led an expedition from Peru into Chile. A year later, in 1541, he founded the city of Santiago, laying the foundation for what would become centuries of Spanish colonial rule. But this rule didn't come easily. The early years were defined by relentless conflict between the Spanish settlers and the Mapuche. This long and bloody struggle, known as the Arauco War, saw the Mapuche fiercely defend their ancestral lands. Despite their military advantages, the Spanish never fully conquered the Mapuche territory, a testament to their incredible resistance. During the colonial period, Chile was a relatively poor and remote province of the Viceroyalty of Peru. Its economy was modest, relying on agriculture, livestock, and some small-scale mining. But this isolation had an unintended consequence. It helped forge a unique Chilean identity, proud, self-reliant, and deeply connected to the land. The winds of change arrived in the early 19th century. Inspired by the American and French revolutions and the independence movements sweeping across Latin America, Chilean patriots began to demand freedom from Spain. In 1810, Chile took its first step towards self-government, marking the beginning of the Chilean War of Independence. This fight for freedom brought forth legendary figures. Bernardo O'Higgins, a revolutionary leader, is now considered one of Chile's founding fathers. Alongside him was José de San Martín, the Argentine general whose military genius was crucial in liberating much of South America. After years of hard-fought battles, the decisive Battle of Maipú in 1818 finally secured Chile's independence. O'Higgins became the nation's first supreme director, and the work of building a new nation began. The 19th century was a period of rapid transformation for Chile. The new nation built a strong, centralized government, expanded its economy through agriculture and mining, and fostered a growing sense of national unity. A major turning point was the discovery of vast nitrate deposits in the Atacama Desert. This newfound resource brought immense wealth, but also led to conflict. Chile's expansionist ambitions fueled the War of the Pacific from 1879 to 1884, pitting it against Bolivia and Peru. Chile emerged victorious, seizing valuable coastal territories and expanding its northern borders. The economic boom from nitrate exports made Chile one of the most prosperous nations in South America by the late 19th century. However, this wealth was not shared equally, and deep social tensions began to grow. As the 20th century dawned, industrialization accelerated, giving rise to powerful labor movements and calls for social reform. New political parties emerged, representing workers and the growing middle class, all demanding fairer treatment and a greater voice in their democracy. The Great Depression of the 1930s hit Chile with devastating force. the nitrate industry collapsed, plunging the country into economic turmoil and political instability. This era saw frequent changes in government and the rise of populist and socialist movements. Yet, despite these immense challenges, Chile managed to preserve a functioning democratic system, a rare achievement in Latin America at the time. A historic turning point arrived in 1970. Salvador Allende, a socialist, was democratically elected president, a world first that sent shockwaves across the globe. Allende's government embarked on an ambitious program to redistribute wealth, nationalize major industries like copper mining, and expand social welfare programs. His reforms, however, deeply polarized Chilean society. They also alarmed both the local elite and the United States, which viewed his government with suspicion during the height of the Cold War. This tension culminated on September 11, 1973, when the Chilean military, led by General Augusto Pinochet, launched a coup d'état. Allende's government was overthrown, and he died during the coup. Pinochet established a military dictatorship that would last for 17 long years. His regime was marked by widespread human rights abuses, strict censorship, and brutal political repression. At the same time, his government implemented radical free market reforms, guided by economists known as the Chicago Boys. These policies, while controversial, transformed Chile's economy into one of the most competitive in Latin America. By the late 1980s, mounting pressure from both within Chile and from the international community forced Pinochet to make a concession. He agreed to hold a national plebiscite in 1988 on whether his rule should continue. In a stunning result, he lost. The no vote triumphed, paving the way for a return to democracy. In 1990, Patricio Aylwin was sworn in as the first democratically elected president of the new era. Chile then began a difficult but necessary process of political reconciliation, investigating the human rights abuses of the past while building upon its rapid economic growth. In the 21st century, Chile has cemented its status as one of Latin America's most stable and prosperous nations. It has maintained strong democratic institutions, a robust market economy, and a growing middle class. But the journey is far from over. The country continues to grapple with new challenges, including persistent calls for greater social justice, the recognition of indigenous rights, and a recent movement for sweeping constitutional reform. Despite these hurdles, its democratic foundations remain strong. From the ancient Mapuche warriors who refused to be conquered, to the modern Chilean citizens striving for a more just society, the story of Chile is one of perseverance, courage, and constant transformation. It is a nation that has risen through conquest, conflict, dictatorship, and democracy to become a beacon of stability and progress in South America. Thank you so much for joining us on this historical journey. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration into history. See you next time.